Today, members of all political parties will be meeting to discuss ways to work together to solve the nation's biggest problems. And among those in attendance at the meeting will be Oregon Congressman Schrader. And joining us live from New York City, where the meeting to make America work is Congressman Schrader. Congressman, good morning. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us today.
Good morning, Chad. Thanks for taking the interest in what we're doing here.
Well, it's very important these days. As you know, you're right in the thick of all of it. So tell us a little bit about what this bipartisan meeting is supposed to accomplish.
Well, it's a kickoff, if you will, with thousands of citizens around the country, business leaders, nonprofits, mom and pop back home that are mad as heck about what's been going on in Congress, want to do something about it. They've made enough of a stir and created a lot of interest on Capitol Hill. And so a bunch of congressmen, Republicans and Democrats of differing philosophies, have come together in New York City to lend our support and talk about new ways of doing things.
We can't get things done in the halls of the Capitol, so what's different about this setting? Will this actually create something and allow people to come together and get some results?
Well, one thing that's become very clear to me from Oregon, where we solve problems every day, we happen to work across the aisle, having different philosophies both within each party, but still able to come to the table and actually solve problems. That's not what you do in Congress, apparently. We have all these different caucus groups. The Democrats only talk to Democrats. Republicans only talk to Republicans. And this group is the only forum we have in Washington, D.C., where Republicans and Democrats can sit down, break bread together, go offline, one another, and talk about the biggest problems we're facing. When I first came to Congress 5 years ago, it was astonishing to me that there were more and more groups developing to find middle ground and calling themselves by different names. Well, I'm hopeful that we'll all coalesce under this No Labels group with this great grassroots support from across the country and get down to business and force the different leaderships, the different bodies, the House and the Senate, to actually work together. I have actually some pretty great expectations, meeting some very great people that seem very energized about the opportunity.
Well, one of those big topics, as you know, gun control, it's out there today. Mayors all across the country are going to be holding news conferences pushing for gun control and larger steps. Portland's Mayor Charlie Hales will be doing this, 800 across the country. You've got mayors and people and constituents in your 5th congressional district. Will you support the Demand a Plan call to action?
Well, we're seeing, obviously, Vice President Biden's been meeting with the different players across the spectrum, gun owners, TV, media, game owners, mental health experts and stuff. Really looking forward to something coming out of those meetings that we can all get behind at the end of the day. I don't know if that'll be a no labels agenda right off the bat. We're actually very concerned about how Congress just doesn't work. You can't possibly get legislation of that magnitude through if you don't have the trust between Republicans and Democrats. It's not about shedding your personal values. You can still be a hardcore conservative, a hardcore liberal, or a person that's a little more moderate like myself. The real issue is, are you willing to sit down and help solve the problem? So hopefully we'll be dealing with those reforms.
Well, and finally, you voted against the fiscal cliff bill that was passed a short time ago. Do you truly believe that a big package can get put together and get passed, that we won't have to piecemeal this thing?
Well, I certainly hope so. We didn't solve a whole lot on January, to be very honest with you. 99% of the tax breaks continue. We can't afford that. As I have talked to my constituents in the last 2 years, I lay out we don't have enough revenues, and we didn't do ourselves any favor with that cliff deal. We kicked the can down the road when it came to those across-the-board cuts, dealing with defense and our domestic programs. I didn't think we did very much. So I'm hopeful that a group like No Labels, with people willing to work across the aisle, talk about entitlement reform, talk about tax reform. The citizens are way ahead of us. When I go back home and I'm in Oregon, folks are already there. They get it. They're nervous. You know, they want everyone to pay their fair share, but they're willing to do that because it's about the middle class of the future, their kids and their grandkids, not right here and now, Chad.
Congressman Schrader, we know your time is limited. We certainly appreciate you taking the time to speak with us this morning, and we hope to follow up with you after this meeting and see kind of what might be able to come out of it. So, Congressman, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.